Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace. This is my second time trying to make this video. But I was saying that in that other clip that I had to delete, I was saying that I think it's Pennsylvania. I think that's what I saw earlier today, stating that they're making a law to where people cannot be driving in a vehicle, and using their cell phone. The cell phone can't be on. Okay. They can't. That was it. They can't. And I thought about that. It was some kind of law. For some reason, somebody had died distracted driving or something like that. And somebody had died, and I didn't, I kind of skimmed it. But because I was kind of lost in thought, I was thinking, what about all those people who are delivery drivers? I mean, that is definitely distracting. You can hook up to the, they said as long as it's not like something like the GPS, you can have that on. I don't know. But as far as the rest, you can't be distracted by looking over at it, at the cell phone and driving. So people who are doing deliveries, how are you going to get around that? I mean, I have often wondered, seriously, why on earth it allows offers to come through while a person is driving. Seriously, as soon as the wheels start turning, it should cut it off. And it can tell that you're moving. Okay, I don't believe otherwise at all. I believe it knows because you got the GPS attached. It knows when you're moving. Okay, it knows when your vehicle is going down the road. And I've thought how stupid it is that people can sit there and look over at their phone, especially with one of them saying that they're part of this national or international, whatever group of people against distracted, kind of like the other thing was saying, distracted drivers, people looking at their cell phones. Yet they're the ones that let the offers come through when the vehicle's moving. They're I think all of them do that. I'm pretty sure all of them do that. Maybe there was one that didn't allow that. One. Anyway, that first clip, I was doing real fine with making the video. I was moving around the school, and school's out for summer, as of last week. And there's an elementary school right there. And there was some mom and a couple of kids coming out of it. I'm like, huh? And I don't put other people's kids. There's a law about that. I don't put other people's kids in my videos. Okay, there's a law about that. Remember, I just said that. And not my law. I don't make the law. But I didn't make the law. I don't make the laws. But anyway, so I had to delete it, and I'm not gonna I could have clipped it, but still, I don't like when I clip them. They sometimes put them out of order and all that good stuff, all that bad stuff. But anyway, I was saying this about the whole thing with, can you imagine all the people driving? I think it's the state of Pennsylvania. I could be wrong. I don't know why I kept wanting to say Philadelphia instead of Pennsylvania, but I think it is. I think it's the whole state. I could be wrong. Check it out yourself. See if you can find it. But how are delivery services going to work there? And they said, I think it starts right around my birthday. Actually, I think it's 2026, so around beginning of June, the first week of June in 2026 maybe. But they said the first time that they'll give warning, and after that they give fines for anybody caught driving and with their cell phone on, interactive. So, I mean, I can see, like, you can be sitting, this is what I do, sitting somewhere and an offer comes through. Unless I'm with Adam, and Adam will, and when I'll have it on, and he will accept the order or not. But But when I'm by myself, I'm sitting still whenever the offer comes through and I take it. I don't drive and look at it. I think there may have been one time or something, you know. I don't do it. I'm just going to put it that way because I'm not a perfect being, but no, I don't do it. And I'm by myself, so. And I see that is very dangerous. It really is. Especially where I live, man. You know, I was telling Adam recently, and I think he was with me when it happened, so I told him that I had seen this so many times. You know, like when, run, squirrely, run. It's a squirrel moment, literally. Oh, look at new prairie dog. Anyway, okay, I just had to delete another long clip because I did not see that way down this road where I am. There was a man walking his little child, and they were behind vehicles, you know, when they were walking on the sidewalk, it wouldn't show, but every once in a while it would, and I said, oh, man. Anyway, I was giving an example of something that I've seen a lot of lately. It's like when you're driving down the road, and in the past, if you saw if you saw people in front of you slowing down, you know that maybe some car up there was either having trouble with the car or flat tire, or they're just slowing down to turn or something like that. It's that maybe they couldn't turn it real fast, whatever it was, and people were slowing down, so you could slow down. But as I was telling Adam and showed him, lately people just slam on the brakes, and it's like, why is this change? But that's what happens so often now. You know, I do the driving, health insurance thing, so I'm doing all this work whenever I can for health insurance. The short version, the affordable short version. Anyway, and I'm like, what has changed? Well, it's that whole thing of people looking at their cell phone, and I was mentioning this about Adam telling me, he pointed out a lot when I first started doing this, because he would go with me. He was working from home, he's an electrical engineer, computer scientist kind of thing, and he would go with me just to get out of the house. We were enjoying it, and just getting out of the house, seeing things that we haven't seen before, places, areas, and so on. And so he would point it out to me. It was like his pet peeve. He had a pet peeve about people just sitting there in turning lanes or any lane, and they're just sitting there in their car, with their vehicle, at a light. Especially, a lot of times it happens in turning lane, but it can happen in anything. It does, just even yesterday. But they're just sitting there, like the light has, like, the turning lane to go left. The light has a green arrow. The people say 3 people in front of them have already gone, and they're just sitting there. And they're looking down at their cell phone, texting or doing whatever. He always says TikTok. And the person behind them, they're not honking at them. Nobody. Since he started pointing that out so much, I will honk at him myself. Say, hey, come on, look what you're doing. You're holding up all the traffic. And that is what it is. They're holding up traffic because they weren't wanting to sit there and text or whatever they're doing with their cell phone. And they're distracted. I mean, like I said, it just happened, was it yesterday or was it today? Yeah, somebody next to it, in the lane next to us, in the middle lane on 3-way, with turning lanes, it was probably 5. And they're just sitting there, and everybody, and I had turned, and I was telling Adam, look, watch this. I had turned, and we were all already down the road and all that, and they were still sitting there. And they finally went. It's like, wow, man, how distracted people are with this texting stuff while they're driving. Or what are they doing? Are they taking offers, looking at it? Because when I take an offer, I zoom in on the offer to see if it's an apartment or one of these really tall buildings or anything like that. Or I don't know what some of them are. there's nothing out there. Or they tell me to deliver, there's nothing out there. There's no buildings. I'm like, what in the world? I'm thinking those are maybe new ones, and they're, the skyscrapers kind of thing. But, so I don't take apartments with my knees, and now my heart issues. So, no, I'm not going to be walking up any stairs at all. But, while I'm saying that, like I can't. like I can prevent it. I do walk up, like, see this is my neighborhood, and all the, you see, like, the houses, they're steep going up to the house. These, well, you can't see it. You see, nobody's coming. Well, you can't even see it good there. But over here, not so much, but on these, see how it goes up? Well, they have steps out there. Okay, steps that go up. I'm guessing that one, I don't know. I would think so. And those steps are steep. You see how it's steep? You saw how it's steep? And my neighborhood, we've been noticing more and more. And we talk about, we try to find the one that's the steepest. Man, some of them, wow. And the reason I had stopped working it was because of my health, and I wound up going to the hospital and getting diagnosed and all that with heart failure. And it was over time, but in October was because I delivered in my neighborhood, and it was a house that only had 2 steps, and they were so steep. Well, it was 2 steps plus the walk. Okay, the walkway. That's the term for it, by the way. Walkway. I finally found the term. But the walkway up to the door was so steep. It was like, I was breathing real heavy, like that. And then I almost tripped over the steps, because they're not like stairs, like you see in a building or anything. They're steps, and they're however they want them to be. Not even the same height, not even the same width, none of that. Okay, I'm doing somewhat of a stream of consciousness here. As always, it's always my video, just to go with the flow, so go with the flow, so anyway, where was I with all this? But yeah, I've noticed that so much, the people who just slam on their brakes because they're distracted, and they're not seeing that the person in front of them has slowed down or stopped, and they have to suddenly stop. That makes everybody have to suddenly stop, and that can cause major accidents. Okay, major accidents. And I've also noticed a lot of, like, if you're driving in what some people think is the social slow lane, there's no such thing as a slow lane. Not legal, but social, yeah. As far as I know. Anyway, people who are driving in the far, here in Texas, I remember hearing from childhood, here in Texas it's the far right lane, and you have 3 lanes, you go far right lane. That's where everybody, it's okay if you drive slower than usual. Slower than usual seems to be to a lot of people that you're actually driving the speed limit. But in Louisiana, I grew up near Louisiana, but I grew up in Texas. But Louisiana was a hop, skip, and a jump. And their slow lane was, we always considered the far left lane. Ours was far right, theirs was far left. Now the social slow lane. But anyway, what I've noticed is, like, you're driving down the road in the slow lane, far right, and all of a sudden, people who are coming out of the, out of the houses to the left, to the right, driving down the right lane, people coming out of the houses over there, they're into, so they're coming perpendicular, not parallel to you. Then they just miss the stop sign and just go all the way into the road. One of them went all the way almost to the middle lane, right in front of me. And I've seen that happen too many times. People go too far. They're distracted. I can't think of anybody who is a responsible person who really thinks that sitting there texting or playing with your phone at all, I'm talking like sitting there texting or sitting there staring at your phone, is a good idea. I just don't think anybody would. And some people say, well, don't you do videos when you're driving around? I'm not looking at the cell phone. And even if I were looking at the cell phone, it would be a second front view, because it's facing that way. I'm not looking over at it, none of that stuff. I've been doing it for 10 years. So I'm not staring at my cell phone while I'm in action. But yeah, I mean, if I were sitting there, I kept looking, like some people, they show themselves. I've never been one to while driving. Or really, I've been on camera plenty. Started making videos on YouTube. August will be 11 years. So, but I've never been one to drive around with it looking at myself. But you can see people who are driving. Sometimes they're looking at themselves. They're looking over at themselves when they're looking at the cell phone. That's distracted driving. And I'm worried about talking about this because I joke around and say that I don't believe in, the whole behind, somebody saying, oh, you're tempting fate. Yeah, but I'm telling you, anytime I'm judgmental about something like this, it happens. I'm tested with it. So I'm tested on it. You wouldn't believe how cute this is, what's going on next to me. Now, see, I wasn't moving, but distracted. No, really. There are two beautiful, beautiful little baby bunnies. I'd say they're maybe teenagers. But right here, because somebody put some, it's been there for months now, or maybe even a year or so. Some bird feeders, and they're sitting there, and they're just so beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And it's so nice. There's a bird too. The other day I was sitting out here and there were several squirrels and a cardinal and several squirrels, but there were also rats, seriously. And I'm like, whoa, there were several rats, like I'd say 4, maybe, 3 or 4. But yeah, that could be a good reason why they say, yep, you can't put those in. Plus, it's park land. The park owns the land, so. But they haven't taken them down, so I don't know. They're not mine. I don't feed them. I had to stop feeding mine at home because one of the neighbors said, well, one of the things that happened was something chewed the wiring in Adam's SUV. $800 worth. Yeah, so after that, we haven't fed at home at all. So, man, you wouldn't believe that. Beautiful, you see this is kind of cloudy. But you wouldn't believe what it looks like behind me. The sun is right here to the, you can't see it, but it's shining through. But behind me, it is scary looking, man. Seriously, that's nothing. But anyway, I probably should wrap this up. But I did want to talk about that. I wonder what's going to happen to people if it is Pennsylvania, and when it starts, that once it starts at one state, it's going to just go to all states, and it needs to. I mean, it really does need to. Where people can't be sitting there looking at their cell phone while they're driving. I mean, it is dangerous out there because, like where I live, I've jokingly called it Narcissismville. Oh, these dogs are so beautiful. You have to see this. Look at those, man. Well, you didn't want to see that, but look at those beautiful dogs. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I'm definitely going to have to get me a new mount. This one was ridiculous. I never liked this one since I got it, and I've had it, what, a year or so? Maybe 2. But anyway, where was I? It took me a while. I had to clean it and all that kind of stuff just to get it to stick on there for temporarily. We'll see. But it does seem like this weather's moving in or something, which would be weird because it's coming from the opposite direction than usual. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, the beautiful dogs. They were so beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, I'm saying I need to wrap this up, so I'll go ahead and do that. Talk to y'all in another video. Bye.